What is up, guys? It is Quinn here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about how you guys can dominate your Yahoo fantasy football leagues. So I'm going to be going through Yahoo's ADP, every single fantasy football position, and just talking about where I think the value is, how you should approach drafting each position, should you wait for quarterbacks, should you go elite tight ends early on, all of that stuff. So basically just giving you guys like a quick guide, to give you a step ahead of your other league mates in Yahoo fantasy football drafts. If you enjoyed the video, do me a huge favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. But let's just jump right into it and let's talk about the most important position in fantasy football, the running backs. So these are some of the early round running backs that I really like on Yahoo's platform. So we got to start it off with Christian McCaffrey here. He's my RB1. He's being drafted at pick like 5.7 and the RB5. This is the latest I've seen Christian McCaffrey go on any platform. Basically everywhere else, he's like the number 2, number 3 player taken. He is the 5th running back off the board here. That is absurd. Like, it seems crazy to me that you could have like the 4th, 5th, 6th pick and consistently be able to draft Christian McCaffrey. That just should not happen. I mean, that can give like these mid first round pick teams insane upside, because if you can go Christian McCaffrey like mid first round, then you have a stud player in the second round. You can snag a really nice third rounder, and you're just setting your team up really, really well. So Christian McCaffrey may be the best overall value, in all of Yahoo fantasy football like ADP. Then we move on to DeAndre Swift, who's going at pick 18.9. It's like a mid first round pick and the RB11. I think he should be going much closer, like early second round. Another like crazy value is like CMC than DeAndre Swift, mid first, mid second. Starting your team off with a CMC Swift, duo was crazy. And then we also have Saquon Barkley going like early third round as the RB14. I talked about Saquon being a value yesterday in my ESPN video. He's not going as late on Yahoo, but I think Saquon should be a mid second round pick. So getting him early third round is fantastic. And then two more young running backs that I'm all over this year, Breece Hall and Travis Etienne. I'm going to talk about some dead zone running backs after this, but these are really like the only players I'm looking to draft in this range. So Breece Hall is going as like a mid to late fourth round pick, and then Travis Etienne is like going at the 4 or 5 turn, more like early fifth round as RB22 and RB24. So I love these players. What I do not like is that after we see like Breece Hall and Travis Etienne come off the board, instead of us kind of fading the running back position and going wide receiver, it seems like running backs just continue to get pushed up draft boards. So the running backs going at like the end of the dead zone are just absolutely brutal. So these are some guys who are just being like wildly overdrafted. We have Damian Harris going as like the 5-6 turn spot as the RB25. On no planet should Damian Harris be going that early. He possesses zero upside, also not a lot of security. We have Miles Sanders going as like a mid sixth round pick. Do not like that. CEH is going in the same spot, pick like 68.6. Devin Singletary in a committee going like early sixth round, or no, early seventh round. Rashad Penny going at pick 85 as the RB30. Like, the rankings of these guys as like RB28, RB29, RB30, it's not terrible. It's just that their price is so inflated. Like, these are players who should be being picked. Like, Harrison Sanders should be going around pick like 85. Then when you're getting into Singletary, Penny, I think those guys should be going around like the triple digit picks, but they're not. They're being pushed up like 2-3 rounds from the ADP where they should be going at. So we've just got to be fading these guys. And that's why I think it's important to lock down your running backs early on, because the value just totally tanks. So even if it seems like the value is just okay, like in the first 2 rounds, if you get the okay value at running back and then you can attack the wide receiver position, I think you're going to end up with some great teams. Because if these running backs are getting pushed up the board, some players are going to be falling. And I think there are some decent wide receivers who are kind of going in this running back dead zone range. Starting off with DK Metcalf, who's going at around pick 53. It's like a mid fifth round pick. He's going as the wide receiver 18. And so when we're looking at his ranking as like a wide receiver, I think this is fair. I believe that's exactly where I have him in my rankings, but I just have him as like a mid fourth round pick. He's going more early fifth. which I think makes him a great value. Another guy is Mike Williams. He's very close to DK Metcalf in my rankings. He's going as like a mid to late fifth round pick as the wide receiver 20. A ton of value here. I think two players who are even better values, Marquise Brown and Chris Godwin. Marquise Brown is going as like a 6-7 turn guy as the wide receiver 24. And then Chris Godwin is going wildly late as like a mid eighth round pick at pick 87 and the wide receiver 30. I do expect that to go up now that there are reports that it's like there's optimism that he can play week one. But I mean, even before there was optimism, this was way too late. So I'm guessing wherever his ADP rises to is still going to be very, very low. And just like on the ESPN platform that I talked about yesterday, there is a ton of value with these young wide receivers. It's like first, second, third year guys. So I'm just going to run through all the ADPs of these players. I love all these guys at price. Starting off with Rashad Bateman at pick 84, wide receiver 29. For me, he is a low end wide receiver 2. So getting him as like a mid tier wide receiver 3, I think is great. Elijah Moore, 97th pick, 98th pick, wide receiver 34. Elijah Moore just seems destined for a big breakout. You know, he was dominating before his season ended last year. Darnell Mooney's going like right after Elijah Moore. He's another player who I think is like a fringe wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3. So getting him here as a back end wide receiver 3, high end wide receiver 4, a ton of value. Devonta Smith, don't love the situation, but going as wide receiver 38 after his rookie season, should not be going there. Drake London, pick 121. Like, I understand we've never seen him on an NFL field before, but how can we look at the production of these rookies the last few years and be like, nah, I don't really want to invest in probably the best rookie in this class. I'm in on Drake London this year, especially when you're basically paying up nothing. Like, what is this, like in a 10th, 11th round pick? Yeah, I think 11th round pick to get Drake London. Come on, everyone's got to be doing that. And then Treylon Burks, wide receiver 52. Just no risk in drafting these guys. If Treylon Burks is your wide receiver 5, you're doing something right. And then Sky Moore, also basically like free at price, wide receiver 66, potentially like undrafted in some leagues. I mean, if you're looking at like a 12-team league, that's basically like someone's wide receiver 6. If each team's drafting like 5 wide receivers. So the young wide receivers, I mean, I think I'm going to have a lot of teams where I'm going like running back, maybe getting a tight end, you know, a veteran wide receiver, and then just firing off like 3 straight picks of Bateman, Moore, Mooney, London. Like, I would not be surprised if I have a lot of teams that look like that on the Yahoo platform. Now we're going to switch over to the quarterback position, and just my general philosophy with quarterbacks on the Yahoo platform. I am fading them. They are wildly overpriced. Right now we have Josh Allen going as like a mid first round pick. Mahomes and Justin Herbert are going at the 3-4 turn. You have Lamar Jackson going like mid fourth round. Like, that's the only spot where it starts to become kind of palatable, and I'm still fading that big time. Joe Burrow is going as like an early fifth round pick, super, super early. I think the only reasonable price, like so far, would be Kyler Murray here going at around pick 57. It's like a late fifth round pick. Still not super in on it, but it's the only one that I would even consider a little bit. Like Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Jackson, Burrow, just wildly overpriced. Lamar potentially, but I mean, still someone I'm not interested at all at that value. Jalen Hurts could be someone you like here as like an early sixth round pick going as QB7. I think that's okay. But then we still have like Tom Brady, early sixth round pick. Dak going at pick 64. Russ going at pick 80 is okay. Stafford at 83, maybe. The real value here is Trey Lance going at pick 111 and QB 14. So even if you love Trey Lance, you just got to acknowledge that like picking Joe Burrow at pick 52 is just brutal compared to waiting for the upside of Trey Lance at pick 111. Also, if you're in like a 10, 11 team league, if players are going to be picking these quarterbacks this early, like if people are going to be spending draft capital for pick 52 Joe Burrow, you can just wait, wait for the other 9 or other 11 teams to draft quarterbacks. Because in my opinion, there are 12 QBs that I'm confident in. You could even throw in guys like Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers in there. That would make it like 15 quarterbacks you're comfortable with. So what I would do, I would wait for all those dudes to draft quarterbacks, and then you just snag your quarterback before they're going in to pick their second one. Obviously, there's some risk in waiting there. You could have some weird league mates who are just going out drafting a ton of quarterbacks. That's kind of the risk you have to take. I just can't rationalize spending like elite draft capital on Josh Allen in the second round, third, fourth round picks on Mahomes, Herbert. I'm just not into that. I mean, Burrow going like, what is this, over 20 picks before Brady and like 30 before Prescott, 35 before Wilson, and then what, like 40 before Stafford. I just can't really like rationalize picking these guys here. So I'm definitely going to be waiting on quarterback here. Maybe going Jalen Hurts if he falls. Other than that, I'm waiting on Trey Lance or just waiting to see if like Russ, Stafford fall because they're like the last guys available. And now moving over to the final position, it is time to talk about the tight ends. And from what I've seen of the Yahoo tight end ADP, there is a lot of value in the elite tight end options. So right now, Travis Kelce is going. It's like a mid to early first round pick. I think fair, but he's going a few spots lower than he is on other platforms at pick 16. We have Mark Andrews going at the 2-3 turn. I think typically you see Andrews going like mid second round, maybe late second round. So potentially getting third round Mark Andrews, I think is fantastic value. Same thing with Kyle Pitts here. Just seems to be a little bit undervalued. He's going early fourth round. I think you normally see him going late third. I think Darren Waller and George Kittle are pretty appropriately valued. Waller's going like late fourth round. Same thing with Kittle. Kittle may be a little bit overvalued here compared to other platforms, but I think it's fair. And the reason why I put them on here is because even a fair value, I think, is something you should be looking at, early on with the tight end position. Because once you get into the mid tier guys, I mean, it becomes pretty brutal. So you go from Darren Waller and George Kittle, who are going around pick 46. Then you're looking at Dalton Schultz at pick 58. So I don't think the difference between Waller and Kittle, to Dalton Schultz should only be one round. I think there should be much more of a cushion. You have Hawkinson going at pick 64, early sixth round. Do not like that. Dallas Goedert at pick 71. No, thank you. And then you start to get into this range where I think after those top 8 guys, I think all these guys like Knox, Ertz, Freiermuth, like these players I think should be going probably around the triple digit rounds, if not like late double digit picks. Not triple digit rounds, triple digit picks, like pick 100 around there. But it seems like Dawson Knox, who's the guy I like out of that tier, just got way elevated to pick 82. So at this point, I'm like, either you're waiting and drafting like the tight end 11, tight end 12, which can be risky, or you're taking a swing early on a guy like Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Waller, or Kittle. I think the value is fair for all of them. I think the value is definitely solid for Kelce, Andrews, or Pitts. And you also have to keep in mind, if you're fading the quarterback position, like I kind of recommend, you can afford to go, elite tight end early on. You know you're going to have solid options at the wide receiver position because those young players are all values. So that's kind of how all this is coming together. My general philosophy on this draft would be like, go running backs early on. If you're in position to snag one of these tight ends, do it. There's some decent value at wide receiver, round 4, round 5. We're waiting on quarterbacks. We're firing off on those young wide receivers. We're either drafting a falling quarterback with elite upside or just waiting on elite upside Trey Lance or Russ or Matthew Stafford. And that's kind of how I would be approaching this. So that's basically going to wrap it up for this video, talking about my general philosophy, values, players I'd be avoiding. Let me know what you guys think about this video down below in the comment section. Is this helpful? If you want me to do more platforms, I know I'm going to do one on Sleeper. We'll see if I kind of stop there. But thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.